Welcome back. Former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy spoke with Trump today and joins me here in Milwaukee. Good to see you.
Well, thanks for having me.
How was Donald Trump today?
You know, what's so amazing, he came so close to losing his life last night, and he's upbeat. We talked about it. He talked to me about hearing the sound of the bullet slashing through his ear, but then he was in total Trump form, where he was educating me that, there's a lot of blood within the ear. Kevin, you might learn this because you've got big ears, kind of humorous. But I could tell anybody that's been through it's got to change him somewhat, the sound of when he went through. But then he really wanted to thank those who had prayed for him. He was worried about the family, who the individual had died, coming to his event. But he was looking forward to coming up here in Milwaukee.
Did he seem shaken at all?
Not what you would thought of. Mm-hmm. No, I think he's been through so much in life. I mean, even if you take the last year, I don't know of any person that could go through indictments, trials, trying to thrown off, and now this. I mean, he has more fortitude than anyone I know, and to compartmentalize this. But this is a moment in time, though, I think will affect him in somewhat. You cannot be that close to losing your life, be in a situation where someone shot 8 bullets, where somebody in your own rally got shot, that it doesn't affect you in some manner.
How do you think it changes this presidential race?
I don't know politically where it's at. I think seeing how he dealt with that, if I'm just an average American citizen, I'm sitting back, how would my commander-in-chief act in a time of turmoil or others? I mean, I think he showed it's not something you script or others, but that picture of him standing up with a bloody face, a fist in the air with American flag behind it, that's an iconic picture that I think will last a generation. Mm-hmm. And I think people will look, if they make a decision on leadership, it'll be no question. I think this is an opportunity, much that Reagan had, where you had Reagan Democrats. I think you're going to find people looking at Trump that maybe have never voted for a Republican before.
You were Speaker of the House on January 6th. We spoke that day. We were live on the air for more than 10 hours or so, and I remember our conversation vividly because you called on the president to come forward, come out before the cameras and ask for the violence to stop. And you said this should be a moment that brings us together, not divides us. But it's almost like the rhetoric's gotten hotter since then.
It seems as though from all campaigns where I've never seen something like this where they go after somebody even through a Department of Justice and others. I hope all Americans reflect on this moment. Have you pushed something too far where a 20-year-old kid, we don't know his background, but he's got to have something mental, that would take an opportunity to try to assassinate somebody in a race? That you would question whether you're safe to go to affiliate with any political party that you were fearful of your life. That's not America. That's not democracy. I will tell you today, I had other leaders from other countries call me about what transpired, that they're concerned about democracy, even in their own country, what they're hearing coming back. And this is a moment in time all parties should reflect and know that they should tone it back. We've got to start respecting individuals that we disagree with. You can respect somebody at the same time disagree with them and debate in a manner that's respectful.
Does Donald Trump bear some responsibility for that? Does he need to change his rhetoric?
You know, it's odd. This is a man that came less than an inch from losing his life, and the question is, you're worried about him? I think when I look at all Americans, I mean, I don't know that I look at our current president that less than 2 weeks ago said you put a bullseye on Donald Trump. What I'm trying to be is a fair American to tell everybody to dial back. I think anyone that gave any rhetoric has some responsibility to where this country has gotten in the last couple of years when it comes to politics.
And did you say that to Donald Trump today? Did you say, look, we need to think about the kind of rhetoric that we have here. We can set a standard here.
My call today with the president, with a man that came so close to losing his life, wasn't about that. It was a concern for him personally. And I'm amazed that he's here today. He doesn't push anything back. What it shows to me is what Donald Trump really values. It's not about him. It's what he wants to do for the country. And think about it. Anybody who runs for president, though, the fear that they could have, he could do a lot more in life. He could be very happy at Mar-a-Lago, but he's willing to risk that even when his own family's concerned. And so I think if you watched Donald Trump through this whole campaign, I think this is a new Donald Trump that is more disciplined, that is more focused, that understands what it matters for this country for the next 4 years. And I think you'll see something much different probably here Thursday night than you've seen in the past.
And we may see him even before Thursday night.
I think so.
Kevin McCarthy, the former Speaker of the House, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.